Hola everyone! Welcome back, and if you're new, my name is Gloria and welcome to my channel. Bueno, so as you guys saw on my last video, I told you guys that I was going to tell you about my adventures when I went to Canada with my sister, and it's been roughly 2 years. Well, actually it's been 2 years actually, because we left back on 2020. My sister wanted to do this trip for her birthday, and I've been dying to go to Canada since forever. I love the cold. We were there for 3 days, let's say 4 days, so give or take 4 days total, because we left on January 29th, and might I say that it was might I say it was right before COVID. So we decided to leave on January 29th, and we left at roughly 11 a.m. and then we came back we left Calgary, because we went to Calgary only. We went to Alberta only actually. But our main location was Calgary. But we left on January 29th, right before COVID hit, and we got there at roughly, we left at 11, I remember, and we arrived at Seattle roughly like at 2 p.m. So at 11 we were boarding and our first airplane, and we got to the airport late. My sister had, I believe, some classes at Santa Monica College, and she took her laptop, and I believe she had to do some things, and she put her what's it called, her cables, everything on the suitcase, and we just took one suitcase, so that way we weren't carrying that much. And then we got to Seattle roughly like at 2, and we were boarding roughly like at 2, I believe, or 2 or 3, roughly like that. And then we got to Calgary, to the airport, at roughly 6 p.m. and the first thing, everything was going fine, but arriving, we waited for our suitcase. It was an hour in and no suitcase came out. So my sister was freaking out because she had her laptop, but her laptop was lacking on battery, so she needed her cord to connect it, her extension to connect it, and that was not possible because our suitcase got delayed. I do believe it was because we were late to the airport, but so she had to file a complaint, and she didn't want me to use my phone when we arrived because she thought our data, they were going to charge her extra, when I had specifically told her that I had just received an email saying that if I texted or if I used my data in Canada and Mexico, it was free. But she was like, no, I don't want to be charged extra, so she didn't want me to use my phone. I did use my phone secretly. She just didn't notice until later when she paid the bill, and I was like, did it come extra? And she's like, no. And then I told her, like, don't forget to subscribe. And then she was like, oh, we should have used our phone more. But anywho, so we didn't get our suitcase. We got out of the airport. We got into a Uber, and then when we got the Uber, we paid roughly, or a taxi, I don't remember, I think it was a taxi if I'm not mistaken, a regular old taxi, and we got $60, I believe, 60 Canadian dollars. I think it was 60. I don't quite remember. And she was the one that paid. But from the airport, we could have easily just taken the bus. It was one bus that we were supposed to take. One freaking bus. And we took the taxi. And that was because, and I'll put that one on her because she didn't let me use my phone. But if I would have used my phone, and she was very like dramatic because her suitcase didn't arrive. So if she would have calmed down and I would have used my phone and look what was the easiest way to get to our Airbnb, we would have noticed that the bus was the best route and the maybe not the fastest, but at least the cheapest. But actually the buses don't take that long to get from one place to another. So they're pretty much quicker than here, at least in LA. So we went directly to our Airbnb because she had a backpack and we had our coats, and we just left them there. And then by the way, our Airbnb was a basement and it was so pretty, super nice. They had YouTube, they had Netflix, and we were watching YouTube and Netflix. And then so we got there, and then from there we went to eat because we hadn't eaten, and all we had is Starbucks in the morning. And get this, okay, so back to the airport. Get this, I didn't mention that when we arrived there was a lot of turbulence, and she hates turbulence, and I was freaking out because your plane was going like literally like one way to another, like this, and I guess it was going in circles because it couldn't go down. I don't know. I was freaking out. My sister was freaking out, so I couldn't freak out the way I needed to, because I was literally inside me. I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna fall, it's gonna fall, it's gonna fall. But I couldn't tell her that because she was gonna get freaked out. So that's a side note from like, so even before the suitcase she was already freaking out. So anywho, we got there, we went to the Airbnb, and from the Airbnb we literally went to get another taxi. We were gonna take the bus, but the bus never came, and then we decided to just grab an Uber. So I told my sister that there was Wi-Fi and I was using my own data. So I was using my data. I got an Uber that was a lot cheaper. It was roughly $10 roughly from where we were. We weren't that far. We were pretty close. But he left us like at the east side of Calgary. Didn't really arrive at the downtown where we wanted to. So we just started walking and we found this bar. We ate some buffalo wings. We spent roughly $30 and we literally just ate buffalo wings and fries, I believe, and 2 drinks. And then we walked because we didn't know where was a bus stop. So we just decided to walk, and then my sister was like, okay, let's get to know Calgary a little bit. It was super nice. We walked for over an hour or so, and then my sister was like, we need to find a bus because we didn't find the bus that could take us back, because we weren't going to spend on Uber when we could literally just take the bus. We asked like a stranger, they were so nice. That was something else that I liked. That was something that I actually liked about Calgary, or in general in Canada. Since we arrived, everybody was super nice. And the guy that we asked for directions, he was super nice, and he was walking his dogs in the middle of the night, and he was so nice that he gave us directions. And then we literally finally made it to downtown, and we didn't know we were in downtown yet. And then we just started walking, and eventually we found the bus stop after asking like around. And we asked somebody like, oh, do you know what where is the stop, such and such. So we asked how much the bus fare was and whatnot, and we got off. We took one bus, we got off, and we had to walk. I was using my GPS without telling my sister, and my data without telling my sister, and then we walked. And I was telling her, I believe it's this way, I believe it's that way, yeah, it's this way. And then eventually we found the Airbnb, and my sister was like, oh, you were right. And I was like, yeah, I'm just in my head, I'm like, I'm using my GPS. The suitcase finally arrived at roughly 10 a.m. So I roughly took a shower, a quick shower. It was the next day on the 30th, and we arrived at downtown. We took one bus, and we arrived at downtown like at 11ish. No, like at 12:30ish, 1. We went to walk around to get to know Calgary. We went to a museum, but I believe that it was closed by the time that we got there. We went to Chinatown. We went to different locations in downtown Calgary. Roughly like at 2 or 3, we went to the Calgary Tower. And here's the thing, I'm afraid of heights. In the Calgary Tower, there's a section where you could see it's beautiful up there, but there's a section where you could see everything from the bottom. Like literally you're standing up and it feels like you're gonna fall. So because it's made of glass, but it's not everything, it's just like a certain location. And then I was freaking out because I didn't want to like step on the glass because I thought it was just gonna break. And my sister was taking a lot of pictures, so I was freaking out, and she was trying to take pictures, and I was trying to take pictures, but it was chaos. And then we eventually made it to this restaurant that we found for $5, I believe, or $6 something, $6 a plate. And then we decided to eat there for the rest of the vacation because we thought it was fairly good price with very good food and drinks. What we spent on one night, on our first night, which was 30. I mean, it was our first night, so we didn't know. We spent for 2 people 25-ish. So we spent less money because we did get like 2 drinks and dessert and whatnot. And then from there we went to the museum that we thought it was going to be open, but it wasn't open. But as we were like walking around Calgary and getting to know Calgary, we noticed that it was the people there were very nice. Here I feel people are too hectic to talk to you or to say excuse me, or I don't know. I feel people here are just too much in a rush. And over there, even though people are minding their own business, there is such a nice environment that everybody is so super nice. And I fell in love with that. And it just makes you want to be nicer. And another thing, the streets are super clean. Like super clean, that you could eat off them. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button next to the subscribe button so that you don't miss any future updates. I was impressed. Like, super impressed with the people and how clean the streets were. And so we left early that day because it was getting dark and it was 6 and my sister needed to go back to do some homework, I believe, or a quiz. And then we got there to the apartment. When she was studying, I was actually watching TV. I was watching YouTube. And the thing that made me go to Calgary, or made me want to go to Calgary, because I've always wanted to, I like to travel, but the thing that made me go to Calgary was some episodes. When I was younger, I saw episodes of the telenovela Rebelde, and they went to Calgary. And when I saw Calgary on video on TV, I was like, I want to go there now. And since I don't remember, like I was like 12, I believe, I don't remember, but I fell in love, and I was like, I just want to go there. And so I was watching Rebelde again, and those episodes specifically, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm here. Like I was there right now. The third day, we were going to Banff, and my sister booked this tour that was taking us to Lake Louise, to a national forest, and to Banff. So it was early morning. My sister was so mad. She was pissed off. She's an early riser, but when it's cold, it's not her. She's just mad. So we were supposed to meet in front of the Calgary Tower at, I believe, 8, if I'm not mistaken. So we decided to leave early because we needed to walk. We left like at 6, and then from 6 to like 6:20, it took us like 20 minutes to get to the bus stop from where we were, and we needed to get coffee because we just needed coffee. And so we got the bus. It was like 6:30ish when we got the bus, and my sister was like freezing, and I gave her my scarf, and she's not much of a scarf person, but she was freezing to death. And then we went to the Marriott, I believe it was the Marriott that is right in front of the Calgary Tower, and we got some coffee because I'm not an early person and my sister's not a cold person. So we both got hot coffees. I got a hot coffee, she got a hot coffee. We drank that inside, and then we just left to the let's say the pickup location, which was in front of the Calgary Tower. And there was only one other person that joined us on that day, and the first location that our tour guide took us to was the Johnston Canyon, and it was a hike, but it was so worth it. The views of the mountain with the snow, everything was so nice. And then eventually we made it to this cave that not a lot of people could go in at once, but it is beautiful. The smell of the water, it was just beautiful. So my sister fell, and then she slipped on ice. And then I was super scared because I thought that she had bumped her head, but fortunately she didn't. And then we walked back hiking. I'm not much of a hiker, and as I mentioned on my videos of 10 things about me, I'm not much of doing exercise. But actually when I was hiking there, I don't know if it's because I didn't know the place or because it wasn't, or because it was cold that I didn't feel it. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't feel it. So we left the Johnston Canyon roughly like at 10:30, because it took us a while to get to Lake Louise. That was the next stop, and that one we did alone. So our tour guide just got to Lake Louise, and then there was the Fairmont Hotel, one of the Fairmont hotels, and she was like, I'll give you guys 2 hours, and then 1 hour or 2 hours, something like that. And then we decided to walk around, and there were some ice sculptures, beautiful ice sculptures that I fell in love with. Like, they were outstanding art that everybody who goes to Lake Louise and could watch them has to see them, because it's just beautiful. And then we decided to walk around in the snow. I played around a little bit with the snow, and it started snowing, and it was just beautiful and nice and cold, and I was like, oh, I'm in love with this. And my sister was dying, but I was like, I don't care. I was having a blast. And then we got eventually to our bus. We went to, from Lake Louise, we went directly to Banff. And when we got there at roughly 1-ish around, and 1 or 2 I believe, and when we got there, honestly, my sister and I, we were like, we regret just going for 1 day, because it is so beautiful. That was our favorite location to go to. We love Calgary, we love Lake Louise, we love everything, but Banff was beautiful. If Calgary is clean, Banff is crystal clear, like super clean. So when we got to Banff, we had 2 hours, and then we were like, we're not gonna sit down and eat for half an hour. Like, that's just losing half an hour of not getting to know a beautiful place that is just, when you arrive, it's just breathtaking. Subscribe. My sister decided to go to a museum, and we were like, okay, let's go to a museum. So we went to the Cave and Basin National Historic Site, and it was a hike. Saying that, we already had done a hike, so I was like, okay, whatever, we have to go. So that was the only museum that was open, so we decided to walk it, and then it took us roughly half an hour, but it was a nice walk. And eventually, when we made it, we saw this every historic moment in different caves, and then we saw this little cave that was inside with water that smelled so bad, but it looked so nice, but it smelled so bad. Like, literally, if the picture that I took could talk, it was just like, ugh, awful. But it was a nice scenery. And then we walked it out, and there were these stairs that take you up, and then you could see the whole view of Banff. And where we were, everything was just beautiful. Then the tragedy happened. As I mentioned on my 10 random things about me, I am a total klutz. So there was ice on the floor. I didn't notice, and I was like, okay, I knew there was ice, but at the same time I was like, okay, there's ice everywhere and I haven't fallen, and now I'm like, I'm just gonna make it. And I was walking slow, but I don't know what happened that I just my foot just completely bended and I fell on my butt. And then it started hurting. It wasn't hurting as much, maybe because it was cold, or I don't know, but it got swollen and it was awful. It was the same ankle that I had injured 2 years before, and it is a sprained ankle, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt less. And we still had one more day of tourism somewhere else that was unknown for us, and I was so mad. But at the same time, I just sucked it up and then I walked it back. She wanted to take us to different locations as well. And she took us to the Fairmont Hotel up in like a hill, and then so she told us about the story about the Fairmont Hotel up in the hill. And let me just tell you, it looks like a castle, the hotel, but it looks very freaky from the outside. I don't even want to imagine from the inside, but at least from the outside it kind of does look like a haunted house. But it looks actually, I mean, it looks nice, but it's just creepy. And then after hearing the stories that she told us, it was even creepier. But she took us back. So we got to Calgary roughly like at 6:30ish, roughly. And she was so nice. She was like the sweetest tour guide that I've had. And she took us to different like little stops along the way. And then eventually we finally made it to Calgary. We went to eat because, as I mentioned earlier, we didn't really eat. On Lake Louise we didn't eat, and then on Banff we didn't eat at all. We just ate popcorn and chocolate. And then so we ended up going to the Airbnb, but then we got a little bit hungry. We were craving this fast food restaurant that we saw that was literally right around the corner. Its name was the name of the fast food restaurant is Tim Hortons, and we got I believe a grilled cheese and some French fries and something to drink. They were okay. They weren't the best, but they weren't awful. I mean, they were okay. We woke up early, very, very early in the morning, kind of like at 4:30ish, 5, because we needed to go to another location that was not near, and we decided to Uber to that location because we were supposed to wait for a bus that took us to Edmonton. And in Edmonton we were going to go to an ice castle, and I saw the pictures and it was beautiful. But we woke up, we got ready, we went to the location, we finally got into the bus, and it was a long drive, so we kind of like fell asleep in the bus. So please don't forget to subscribe. When we got there, we got off at the wrong stop, so we walked, and we had to walk to downtown of Edmonton. and we found this fast food, kind of like Chipotle. It was good, but I feel we should have just waited, because we ate like at 12, but I felt like, because everything was just, at that time we were kind of lost, but at the same time not lost, and we were so excited about the castle that we thought that we weren't gonna have enough time to eat anymore. So we just decided to eat there, and turns out, like at, I want to say 2, when we were walking, they sent an email saying that the ice castle was closed due to weather conditions. So my sister was mad, I was mad. If I'm honest, I could have lived without Edmonton. I was not much of a fan of that location. It's nice, I'm not gonna say it's not. Cars, there's a lot of movement, there's so much going on that I just, everything is just like super far away, and I think it was because of my ankle that I was just like, I'm done. So I could have done without Edmonton, maybe somewhere else I would have liked, but I was so excited about the ice castle, and that I was so bummed when they canceled the ice castle tour because of the weather. So we were supposed to go to the ice castle, I believe at 3, and then from there go directly to the airport, where we were supposed to wait for the bus to take us back to Calgary. Our itinerary was already done, but the ice castle and the wrong exit just put everything upside down. So we ended up going to the Alberta Legislation Building. My sister wanted to go and do a tour there, but when we got there, it was closed. But we got to see it from the outside, and it is so beautiful. It is a huge building, but it's so pretty. And I feel Edmonton is more car than on bus, because everything is so far away that, unlike Calgary, you could actually walk it or take the train, or it's a lot easier. Everything's a lot closer. And so let me tell you a story. When we were on a bus going to the legislation building, there was this woman that we saw that was talking to herself. We thought she was weird, and we looked at each other, and my sister and I looked at each other, and we were like, okay, she's weird. And she gave us, like, I don't know, like a weird vibe. So we went from the legislation, and that's where we saw the woman. So we left to the train station afterwards because it was closed. So we went to the train station, and we went all the way to the University of Alberta. It is a beautiful university, actually. I fell in love with that university. And so I started to I wanted to do a snowball fight with my sister, but she was mad because it was cold and the ice castle was closed. So I started throwing snowballs at my sister, and she was getting kind of mad, but I kept on doing it. From there we walked, and we found this Colombian restaurant that sell arepas. And my sister and I, we were so bummed that we had already eaten, because when we saw the Colombian restaurant, we were like, we should have eaten here. So at the end, we decided to continue eating my arepa as we continue walking towards the University of Alberta to get the train so that we could go all the way to our destination, where we had to get picked up by the bus, which was at the Edmonton International Airport. And we walked it back, when we walked it back, we took some pictures at the university. It's a very nice university, as I mentioned. And we got to the train station. I told my sister, I want to take the elevator, because she was walking way too fast, because she was like, we're going to miss a bus, we're going to miss a bus. And I was like, I need to take the elevator because I can't go down the stairs that much, because my ankle was hurting so much. So I could go up, but I couldn't go down. It hurt a lot more when I went down. And then I guess she didn't hear me, that she just went walking, and suddenly I hear my name scream while I was in the elevator, and it was my sister. When I get out of the elevator, I'm looking for her, and I have no idea where she is. I turn on my data on my phone so that she would call me. She never turned on her phone. She literally preferred me to be lost than actually turn on her data so that she could call me. So I was like, dude, seriously, like you like, I told you it was free. And like, so I went with my ankle hurting. I went all the way down I went up and outside and looked for her. I went down again and looked for her to where we buy the tickets. And God has a way to put angels on your way. And so I don't know if you remember that woman that I told you about that was on the bus when we were going to the legislation building, and we thought that she was so weird that she was talking to herself, because she was talking to herself, but then again, who doesn't talk about to themselves? But I suddenly made it all the way down to where the train was gonna pass, and I see her. And she's like, you're looking for your sister? And I'm like, yes. Wait for her, she's coming. And literally, like, and she's like, I saw her, she came from those stairs. Literally, when I walk towards the stairs and I try to find her, I see my sister. And I told my sister, and then my sister and I hugged, like, for the first time that we haven't hugged, I don't know, in any time, because we were both freaking out. After that, she was like, okay, wait for me here, and she went to get the tickets for the train, and then she came down, and we started talking. That woman left after, and we got on the train, and we were like, God has a way to put angels on your way, where to put angels whenever you need them. And I feel that she was that angel that helped us and guided us to find each other back, because in that moment when you're feeling the sense of getting lost and not knowing where you are and not knowing nobody and not knowing where the person you came with is, it is scary. So, but I did tell my sister, like, you didn't turn on your data, like, seriously, like, you could have called me and we could have found each other easily. But she was like, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. So we got to the final location where we had to get a bus. And then from there, we had to go all the way to the airport, to Edmonton. And we were freaking out because we were completely lost. It was a different city. And it was just one day that we were there. So, turns out, we didn't miss our bus. The bus was freakishly late. and it was the Edmonton International Airport, and we were like, we don't know where our bus is supposed to be, and people were so nice to guide us. And at the same time we were freaking out because at the same time we weren't sure. We were like, maybe they got it wrong, and what if we get here, what if we get into the wrong bus, and then what do we do? So fortunately the bus came, and it was the right bus, and we left. And on the way there was a big blizzard. So what took us almost 4 hours. We got to Calgary roughly like at 11 and got dropped off like a block away from the Calgary Tower. There was a huge blizzard. We were waiting for the bus, and then somebody came, and the guy was like, 10 minutes, okay. So we decided to walk it so we could get the rapid, a block roughly. And then a couple came, and apparently they were kind of drunk, but they were still nice, but it was weird. An hour passed by, no bus, and apparently the guy called, and they were like, oh, okay, so the bus should be there soon. 2 hours passed and nothing. 3 hours passed and nothing. My sister was dying because it was 21 degrees Fahrenheit, and I was okay, I was having fun, but she wasn't. So you can't really have fun when so much fun when somebody else is not having fun on a trip. So, well, at least not me. And then we decided to Uber, but we were like, let's go to a location where the Uber will find us fast. And we decided to go back to where we got dropped off, and it got there roughly 10 minutes within. So my sister was so happy. It was hot and warm, and then we got dropped off right in front. It was almost 2 in the morning when we got dropped off. So please subscribe. I had to leave the Airbnb before 1, or before 10. So we fell asleep like at 3. We got there like at 3 roughly, and we fell asleep right away, and then we woke up at 8ish. I like to keep everything well organized so that we're not like looking at the last minute just trying to find things. And I woke up early and everything was done, and I took a shower, everything, we put it away, we fixed the bed, and then at the location of the Airbnb, we found that they had like a notebook where everybody who stayed there had to like write something if they wanted to. And they were very nice, they were very hospitable. Like there were enough towels, there was ibuprofen, which helped me with my ankle a lot, and there was a microwave, there was a lot of things that made you feel like home, and it was very cozy. So we left a nice like a written thank you note for her on the notebook, and she emailed me, and she actually told me, if you guys want to leave at 1, you guys are fine, because I didn't hear you guys come in. And then I explained the situation, and then she was like, you guys could leave later. But we were like, no, we want to see a little bit more of Calgary. So we decided to leave at 1 with the suitcase. So we walked it with the suitcase all the way to the bus stop, and we got to Calgary to downtown Calgary like at 12, and we walked it. We were looking for a cheap place to go get a souvenir, and we went to eat at the $6 location. there was no places with souvenirs other than the Calgary Tower. We found like a 99-cent store, but we didn't really like anything about it in it. So it was kind of like bye. And then we just decided to go to the Calgary Tower. We decided to continue walking. We found this church, beautiful church, and the people inside were so nice. It was the way they spoke about everything. It made you feel in peace. And then I just wish that we had enough time to actually have found it before, so that we could have spent a little bit more, so that we could have seen a little bit more. But the little moments that we were in there, they offered us coffee and they were so nice to us. And then we decided to take the bus because we were leaving at 4, I believe. Well, 4, yeah. So we went back like at 2 to get the bus, and we left. So we got the bus and we left to the airport, and we got at time. We got right on time, and we put our suitcase, and we were like, if the suitcase gets like lost on the way and then we have to wait for it, like, it doesn't matter because we're already home. And on February 1st, we got on the bus. We were so disappointed. I actually was super disappointed because I wanted to stay longer. It is a trip that when you go, you know when you're arriving, but you don't want to come back because people are so nice. Everything is so clean, and the environment just feels more peaceful. I don't know what makes it different. I don't know if it's the people. I don't know what it is, but it's just very peaceful. And then we got to we left and eventually made it to Vancouver at I believe 7, because our flight took off like at 6 or something, and we got there at 4:30, so it took off like at 6, and then we arrived at Vancouver at 7ish roughly, and then we were in a 2-hour layover. So we kind of went out of the airport and then just to the parking lot, and then we literally just came in and we saw a little bit. You can't really see much from the airport, and yeah, we left Vancouver at 8-9 at night, and we arrived here in LAX at 11-12ish, and we took the wrong shuttle, and we didn't want to take the lift from the lift location because they are very expensive. So we decided to walk it, and my sister was mad. I was, because she was tired, and I was just like, my ankle was hurting, so I was like you shouldn't be complaining. And then eventually we got off and we managed to get a lift, and we got home. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. So would I go back to Calgary? Yes. To Canada in general? Yes. I would love to go to Calgary, to go to Banff and stay a little bit longer, because it is kind of like a suburban area. It is very nice, and I feel that there is so much more to see than what we actually saw. So I would actually like it to go and stay like that. in general, it was a fun experience. I would say that I do kind of I am kind of bummed that we didn't see the ice castle, because that would have been so nice. But and overall, our experience was so fun, so nice, and people were there over there were amazing, and we just got the best memories from that location, from that trip. It was haunting because when I got lost, and my sister and I lost track of each other, it was a haunting experience for both of us. But at the same time, now we could look back and laugh about it, because in the moment we were like super in shock. But now I can say that we could go back in time and actually laugh about that moment. So it was a very fun experience on that end. Different experience, haunting experience, adventurous experience, and yeah, it was fun. That's all I could say about it. And do I recommend people going there? Yes. It's very nice to go there and visit and have there's so much to do with children and friends and family that you wouldn't get bored. And people there are nice, so there's no way that people there wouldn't help you, even if you go there alone. Like literally, I feel people that go alone or in pairs or whatever are pretty much safe. I don't know, from my perspective and from my end, it's not like bad neighborhoods. I don't know if there's a specific neighborhood that has like a bad reputation, but at least the locations that we went to had good reputation, and it looked, from our perspective, it looked very safe. So comment below if you have been to Canada, and what areas to Canada have you been to, and what was your experience like. I would like to know, because everybody has different experiences. Nobody has the same experience, and it's fair. I mean, some people have good experience, some people have bad experience overall, but my experience was very good. So leave a comment below, and friendly. So my favorite part of the trip was riding. I would say it was going to Banff. It was beautiful, like literally beautiful. My favorite location. My least favorite part of the trip was pretty much hurting my ankle again in Banff. I know that it happened in Banff, but at the same time, like, I loved it so much that I was not that mad. But if I could do it all over again, I would try not to get hurt on that trip. But overall, a nice experience. So, and that was my Canada experience. It was a fun, haunting, beautiful, magical, joyful, happy, adventurous experience. And overall, it was just simply magical, like from start to end. With all its bumps, it was just magical. I fell in love with Canada, and it's a total different vibe, but still as magical as any other country, I believe. Every country has so much to offer, and Canada is not an exception. So yeah, don't miss out on my next video. I will be using for the very first time the new Rare Beauty product, which is the tinted moisturizer with the SPF 20, and I'll be using it for the very first time, so I'm super excited about it. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for watching. So please don't forget to subscribe and click on the video if you want to watch my full makeup routine using only my Rare Beauty products. Till next time, bye!